Hey, welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I want to go a little bit more in depth on the history of my Camaro, how I got it, what I've done to it, how long I've had it. All right, so without further ado, here we go. All right, so a little story on the 73 Camaro. I bought it from my friend, Eddie. I believe he bought it. He bought it from Englishtown Raceway Park. Every year they have a swap meet. I believe he bought it in 2005 or 2006. And he bought it. It was all red. Had a lot of body filler in it. And I mean a lot of body filler in it. It looked real good. I didn't really want it at that time. Had a small block in it, turbo 350. Nice little street car. But fast forward 2 years, and I was hanging out at my friend Mike's house, and I wasn't friends with Eddie yet. And I told him I wanted to build a drag car, something dedicated. We were looking at third gen Novas, you know, that kind of stuff. He had mentioned that his friend Eddie just bought a Camaro a year or two ago, and that it was all taken apart and he thought I could buy it. I didn't really want it. But what I did want that he had was a 402, 4-bolt main, big block Chevy. And had a tunnel ram on it and 2 L-Brocs. And like 24-year-old me thought it was all great. So I took a loan out and I bought the 402. And I also bought a turbo 350 transmission from him. Kept looking for cars. Really could not find anything that was affordable or half decent. So he suggested me buying Eddie's car. So I went to Eddie's and I had looked at the car. I remembered when he got it like a year or two prior when it was all together in red. But what I didn't know about Eddie is he likes to take stuff apart. And when I saw this car, it was apart. Every function of the car that you could imagine that could be apart was apart. So struck up a deal, bought the car from him, brought it back to my friend Mike's house. The car arrived at Mike's house on 2 car trailers and 37 boxes of parts. That's how far apart he took it apart. So, not knowing a whole lot about race cars at the time, I cobbled it all together, did what I could. It ended up being an all steel, all glass car because I really didn't know what I was doing. Put a roll cage in it, and I was so green I didn't even know that if you ordered a Camaro roll cage that it didn't fit the Camaro. You had to trim it to fit. So again, with another friend's help, Paul, we bought it and put it in, but couldn't figure out why it didn't fit, so we had to cut everything up and get it in there. Currently, the only original part of that roll cage in this car is the main hoop. Everything else is new. So from that point on, we got it all back together. I did whatever body work I could, and I rattle canned it black. And I went to the racetrack, and I thought it was going to be a 10-second car all day long. And I got out there, and it went like almost 14 seconds. It was high 13s. I was so disappointed, I gave up on the car. I wanted nothing to do with it at that point. So then my dad told me not to give up on the car, and he said it was tunable. And we got it all the way down in that configuration, running 11.7s, which really wasn't that bad, and I thought I was like breaking the sound barrier. It was crazy. So moving forward, it stayed like that for a while. And obviously, you know, anybody knows with the race cars, you want to go faster. So I went on racingjunk.com and I found a guy in Alabama who was willing to trade my motorcycle for a 477 big block Chevy. My dad and I jumped in the truck. We hot shot it all the way down there. I made the trade with cash on my side. So I ended up getting an engine and had enough money to get an engagement ring for my now wife, which there was a bonus. So we got back, put the engine in the car, got it running. I did all the body work on the car. We took it from being black. I ended up painting it silver with red stripes, and we went out to run the car. On the third pass, the engine blew up, and I was very discouraged, very disappointed. I mean, I just traded a really high-end motorcycle for this. So I took the engine out, we took it apart. I brought the block over to a machine shop. I asked them to check out the block, make sure everything was good. They sourced me a crank. They balanced the rotating assembly. Everything was good. My dad put the engine together. Everything measured out good with the bearings. And we ran it, and it blew up on the second pass. So sick to my stomach with all the money that I'm spending, and I'm out of a motorcycle, but I gained a wife. I contacted Bam & Race Engines, and I commissioned him. Well, actually, before I commissioned him, I had him look at the engine, and he determined that the machine work wasn't that great, and he had questions about the crankshaft. So at that point, my wife gave me the go-ahead and had him build me another engine, which was an NA motor, and it was a phenomenal motor until I screamed the engine because I missed a gear. Driver error. It's really hard to admit. So then I contacted Bobby and I let him know what happened. And I dropped off the motor and he went through it, and he couldn't believe the damage I had done. Which, quite frankly, I couldn't believe the damage I had done. The block was savable though, and the rods. Crank, not so much. Anyway, so in the down period, I ended up going to a race with my buddy Sean and Jeremy in West Virginia at Berkeley Springs on an airport. It was a no prep race, and I determined at that time that's what I wanted to do because it was competitive. It was like, you know, run what you brung. But I felt like I needed a power adder, so I called up Bobby, and I told Bobby that I wanted to go nitrous. And as soon as I did that, COVID hit. It took me almost, a year and a half to get the engine back. It took us like 11 months just to get pistons for it. But I will say this. He built me a nitrous dedicated motor that runs faster than my NA motor. And that surprised the hell out of everybody. So that's how I decided I wanted to go no prep. And that's how this car ended up getting where it's at. After I moved to the new property, you know, it's just, you know, you get your own shop, you're able to do a whole lot more. And this is what the Camaro has become. It's still 489 base. It's got a turbo 400 in it. It's got the stock 10 bolt in it with Moser 35 spline axles and a spool in it. It's got fiberglass doors, Lexan windows, fiberglass front end. You know, this is the power plant Bam & Racing Engines built. I have done all the fab work, all the suspension work. My father and I, we do everything. If we didn't do everything or learn how or figure out how to do it, we wouldn't be racing. It's just way too much money is involved. And luckily I married a hell of a woman who understands, you know, understands what I do and loves that I have a passion for something. And I'm super competitive. I just hope, you know, this year we get to go out and actually do something with it. That's a brief history on this Camaro and how I got it. Back from 2007, I believe I bought it in 2007, to now in 2023. It's the longest thing I've ever owned. I can't see myself ever without it. It's kind of like part of me. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the history lesson. Please like, comment, subscribe if you like the content. I'm going to try to do my best to get something up weekly. All right, thank you.